You're listening to the Major Pod Network, the only place where your favorite toy store, bar, arcade, and arena are all on the same block. Scratch that major itch.
Today on the Game Marks podcast, we play Celebrity Deathmatch, courtesy of Mega Mark Bret Vaa. Will this mishmash of a celebrity wrestling game hold up today? Will we play it forever? Woo! Or a future endeavor?
You're fired!
All this plus gaming news, GMP64 and Clash at the Feast. Plug in, put on those nostalgia goggles because this week's Game Marks podcast starts now.
And now, the Game Marks. Welcome to the Game Marks podcast presented by the Major Pod Network. I'm the man they call Johnny Clash.
It's Georgie, bitch. I'm the man that will be going by that name, I guess. My name's George Feis, and today we are playing Celebrity Deathmatch. John, I'm not ready for this one.
I'm not ready. I don't know what just happened, but it's Georgie, bitch. And as always, we love to hear from you guys, so please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and make sure to subscribe and rate this podcast wherever you choose to listen, and join the conversation on social media at Game Marks Pod and on Patreon. Patreon.com/GameMarksPod. It's Georgie, bitch. What's up? How you doing? Want to elaborate on that a little bit?
For those of you who listened to last week's episode, John changed my victory music to what was that? Hit Me Baby One More Time?
Yeah, you have all the fun when you win and you get all, yeah, I'm George, I won. So sometimes I edit the pod, I do whatever I want.
So John swapped in Britney Spears for my music, and the community in Discord and on Twitch came up with It's Georgie Bitch. That one courtesy of good friend, the Elder Spork.
Sometimes I just gotta test to make sure you're paying attention.
Yeah, I'm paying attention.
All right. Well, last week we played Super Fire Pro Wrestling X. That was a Mega Mark game courtesy of Soups. And how you feeling? What are you thinking about this game? Because I've thought about this game late at night many times.
I can only imagine why you do that, John. This is a good game. It holds up, and I think that it was an easy play it forever for both of us. Now, we're going to talk a little bit more about why I think you are a little bit more inclined to say play it forever a little bit later on, but I get it.
Yeah, it was just a good game overall. One of the best Fire Pro games, at least I have played. And listen, whatever you've seen us play on the podcast, that's it. That's my limit of Fire Pro games. I have not ventured out past that. And I think that's kind of cool because you get my real reactions to every game. But this was definitely top tier. But
I think those are always the best kinds of episodes that we have when neither one of us have played the game, or if there's, it's always great to go back and play like SmackDown 2, but we've both played that, so we kind of know what we're getting into. But when it's a game that neither one of us have played, and especially something that's, from another country that wasn't ever released here, like those are always the games that are super, super fun. Yeah,
for sure. But speaking of games that are super, super fun, what's new on Patreon today? If you are subscribed, you will get this show ad-free. On Tuesday, you will get these beautiful show notes that drive the show. On Wednesday, Future Endeavored, where we go back and we play the games that we indeed Future Endeavored. And last week, George, you played WWF Warzone and didn't seem like you had that good of a time. And this week, I will be playing Legends of Wrestling. And of course, Friday, you get Clash and Burn in both audio and video formats. How was Warzone?
So I mentioned it last week. I played it a couple weeks ago on stream, and we did the world's weirdest Royal Rumble where it was only Mosh and Thrasher. It didn't turn out as bad as I thought it would, but the game itself to me is just, I stuck by my rating. There are sometimes we play on Future Endeavor and I'm like, oh man, if I can go back and change a rating, I would, but this is not one of those games.
No, listen, I felt when I played Warzone a few weeks ago, I felt nostalgic. But when you get to like, I guess the title matches and you get those TV screens with your rankings, it's kind of like, there's no up from here. You're just match after match after match, which is what you're going to get normally in those older games, which is why we played through them again. See if we will play it forever, a future endeavor. But George, let's talk about the streamer spotlight for the month of June. Twitch.tv/Phil Cardigan, one of our greatest friends.
How do you not love Phil? And last week, he went live, and he was playing through Aladdin. And if anyone's ever played that game, you know that it is up there with The Lion King and all those other like super retro Sega SNES hard as hell video games. For some reason, it's like a different... I feel like that's why our generation is really good at video games, is because we had to play through games like The Lion King,
Toy Story.
Yeah, oh my God.
I had this Jurassic Park game for Sega that was like impossible. They just don't make them like that anymore. They just don't.
It was like the side-scroller one, right?
Yeah, and you had to like tranquilize the velociraptors and get to jump over them.
That game was so hard.
Super hard. I actually
bonus episode. You and I are gonna play through that.
I think we should, honestly. That could be our first bonus on Patreon. Let's do it. But now, GMP64 episode 19 dropped last Thursday. I think it was a roller coaster of emotion. We have a brand new world heavyweight champion right there on GMP64. If you haven't watched it yet, check it out on youtube.com/GameMarksPodcast, because SummerSlam is coming this month. And we are on the
BS
road.
On that new champ.
We are on the road to WrestleMania, which is only going to be in 3 months. That's the season finale, guys. If you're not on board with GMP64, get on board now.
So John, we've been doing this thing every couple of months. And I think you and I both agree, in terms of this podcast, it may be one of the most interesting and reflective things that we do as a whole for the gaming community. And that is the video game histories. We've done The Undertaker. We've done Bret Hart. And now, when we hit 400 subscribers on our YouTube channel, we will be doing the video game history of the Legion of Doom.
And right now, we are at 296 subscriptions on YouTube, so we need to hit 400. Let's set some goals here. Let's try to hit like 320 by the end of this week. You think we could do that, guys? I think we can. There is way more than 400 people listening to this podcast, and all you got to do is press subscribe.
Cost $0.
But George, are you ready for some gaming news?
Oh, there's one thing that I cannot wait to talk about this week.
All right, let's go.
Are you looking to get a better grip on life? How about your video games? Well, VGF Gamers are the largest silicone gaming brand in the USA. They have a variety of different and unique skins for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One controllers and consoles. Check out their products at vgfgamers.com and use code GameMarks to receive 15% off your order at checkout. That's GAMEMARKS at checkout. VGF Gamers. Better grip, better style.
Battlefield 2042 on next-gen consoles offer a superior experience compared to what the PS4 and Xbox One versions offer. Battlefield 2042 on next-gen consoles offers a superior experience compared to what the PS4 and Xbox One versions offer. And that's going to cost early adopters of the next-gen consoles. Not only will the game on the next-gen and PC look better and run better compared to the version of the game last-gen console players will get, but those in the former camp can look forward to enjoying 128-player battles. On PS4 and Xbox One, players will be able to enjoy 64-player battles. Again, though, this upgrade isn't on the house. On PS4 and Xbox One, Battlefield will only cost $60. On PC, the game is also $60, but PS5 and Xbox Series X, the game will cost the full $70. Last week during Summer Game Fest, Psyonix and Epic Games announced that in collaboration with Universal Games and digital platforms, the previously released Fast and the Furious content is coming back to Rocket League on June 17th on all platforms. The content is set to return via the Fast and the Furious 3-car bundle, which will come with the previously released Dodge Charger and Nissan Skyline, both of which players haven't seen since the game went free to play. Meanwhile, the bundle will also include a brand new car, the Pontiac Fiero. That said, to cop these 3 cars won't be cheap, with the bundle set to cost 2,400 credits. After much teasing on the part of the Among Us team, the game made its expected appearance during the Summer Games Fest opening day. Developer Inner Sloth were able to share more information on the plans for the game's next update, which includes additional colors for players to choose from, larger lobbies to hold more players, and additional changes and features to look forward to. Inner Sloth also teased that there's a new map coming that's currently only being referred to as Map 5. Also, achievements will be added to the game, and Among Us is getting a new mode called Hide and Seek. Not much could be said about these now, but the roadmap video gave a brief preview of what players can expect in the near future. And that's all the gaming news we have this week. Check back next week.
All right, so the thing that I wanted to talk to you about, John, is, are you a Battlefield player?
So my friends are, and I at one point did download the game years ago. I would say like Xbox 360. All I remember is running around, getting killed, and I was driving a tank. And I'm so used to like Call of Duty, games like that, even like Medal of Honor, that I was not a Battlefield player. I just couldn't get into it when I knew that the other games that I played were out there.
Okay. I loved the Battlefield series. I was a big fan of the original 1942, and then even more so for Battlefield Vietnam. I just think it offers something a little different than your typical like Call of Duty style game. But I'm really hyped about this, like probably more than I was for anything that we've seen as of late in terms of gaming. But I mean, this is the beginning of the season, and this is all that we've seen so far. I'm beyond excited for what the future is gonna bring for the next couple months.
Yeah, I did watch the trailer, and I think it might have been VGF Gamers, or I'm not sure who posted it, but I saw the trailer and they were like, "Oh, so we're getting trick shots now in trailers because the guy dives out of the jet and does like a
I was
Deadpool."
Very
Yeah.
very confused about that, but so maybe that's what's happening.
All right. Other than that, Virtual Basement just put out this Friday that the rumors are true. They welcome James from Viking Size Gamer to the Wrestling Code development team, and he is going to be leading the way on their version of a GM mode called Promotion Manager. So while we give Virtual Basement a lot of crap, I will give them credit for getting on board and giving people what they want, and that's a GM mode. We saw it recently with AEW, and now Virtual Basement is also going to bring that to the table. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's something, I didn't think that I was going to like the AEW GM game as much as I did, but it ended up being something that I put a lot of time into and had a lot of fun playing, so maybe I'm coming around to the whole GM style play.
Yeah, I'm still not going to go back and play the old WWE game ones, but hey, if it's in a future game...
That's what we're doing now. We have to do that.
If it's in a future game, maybe I'll dabble.
We're going to have GMP. That's the sister podcast that we're coming out with.
Oh, God. All right, George. Well, up next, the question of the week.
Hey, yo, Game Marks. You know who I am? And I'm here to tell you about our pro wrestling tees and TeePublic stores. Now let me tell you something, Game Marks. Not only do we have the most radical shirts over at Pro Wrestling Tees, we also have a TeePublic store with even more designs, dude. So head on over to ProWrestlingTees.com/GameMarksPod and TeePublic.com/user/GameMarksPod, because when you're GMP for life.
All right, so the question of the week is a segment where you ask us a question, and if we pick your question, you get a Game Marks Pod prize pack. Now, last week, the question was, do you and your friends or family use any funny dialogue from wrestling video games in real life? I thought that was a great question. You and I both gave our answers, but we got some answers from everyone else on social media. So Brian Harris says, it's not my fault. Rick Steiner from Super Brawl on Super Nintendo. Me and my stepdad used to use that line all the time. We have no idea why Rick says it in the character select screen. I will say this, and we touched on it when we played Super Brawl. That character select screen where people just like jump out of their their icons and they're just like, Rick says it's not my fault. Then I know Rick Rude says the sexiest man alive.
But it's not even when you hover over that person. Like it's just
they just like pop out randomly.
Yeah, it's random. I touched on that too when I did Future Endeavor. That's pretty cool.
It's so funny. Now, the Turnbuckle says, we often say it at work, a winner is you whenever an employee has to drop off a deli order. That's from pro wrestling. 5 minute gone. When you think that you've been working for hours, only find out that time moves slow. And that's from VPW2. Virtual Suplex says, how about when the Japanese referee counts to 20 and pronounces 13 as thouteen? Now, I will say this. I forgot to mention one that you and I do all the time.
Uh-oh.
Anytime that we play any kind of Japanese-based wrestling game, and
I know what you're going to say.
You and I always go, give up, because that's what they do in Fire Pro and like the later Fire Pro games. So it doesn't matter. We did it last week when we played Super Fire Pro Wrestling X. It's not in the game, but we say it because it's in returns, it's in world.
Yeah.
And we've put so much time into those games now that it's just like ingrained into the whenever you see that system.
Yeah, that's definitely probably our biggest one, and we didn't mention that. But this week's question comes from Facebook, comes from Dakota Kellogg. It says, not sure if this has been asked yet, but what is your favorite physical pre-order bonus you've ever got with a game? For example, the Seen Enough edition of 2K with the exclusive figure. Now, we have touched on this, but I feel like enough time has passed where new games came out, and we could talk about it some more. I believe last time we brought up how there was a giant baby in Death Stranding that you can get, like just a giant fetus in an egg. So there are some weird ones out there.
Honestly, I was thinking that this would be strictly related to wrestling videos.
We could do that.
If we're opening it, because I know at one point didn't Gears come, like if you pre-ordered one of the Gears game, didn't you get like a mini the gun chainsaw thing?
Yes, I actually have it.
Like I remember that because that was like a huge thing. I think at one point there was also, if you pre-ordered, I can't remember what game it was, you got like a Nerf gun that was...
Oh, that's cool. Fortnite?
That was... No, it wasn't Fortnite. This is pre-Fortnite, but like you got the gun from the game, but it was a Nerf version of that gun. Like there's always been crazy things, but if we're limiting it to just wrestling, and we're talking physical pre-order bonuses.
Well, I don't really pre-order exclusives of games in general, just because I don't have use for that stuff. Now, maybe I appreciate it more that we've been doing this podcast, and I did go back and I bought that 2K, I believe it's 2K15 Cena plaque with an autograph and a piece of the ring mat from the Royal Rumble. And other than that Xbox Raw Japanese version I got with the Undertaker Jax figure, the t-shirt, that is just beautiful, and I cannot wait for that to be a centerpiece in my collection one day.
So the ones that jump out to me, I mean, I feel like the 2K games are the ones that are really known for like the big pre-orders. So like, I know there's the Seen Enough edition. 2K15 had the Hogan Funko Pop, the Hollywood Hogan Funko Pop.
Oh, that's right.
Seth Rollins is on the cover of AJ Styles is on the cover of 2018 or 2019?
19. Rollins is on 18.
Okay, so yeah, 18 is Cena. 19 is the Ric Flair Woo edition, and you can get that cool, that infamous promo of him with the belt on his shoulder. Then there's 2K14 has the Taker one, right? We talked about that in the Taker retrospective, where you can get that coffin case, right? I mean, listen, I love that Ric Flair Funko Pop. And then the 2K20 had something too. They had the SmackDown.
Yeah, and they had those autograph cards that some of them got them unautographed. And I know Edge personally reached out like, hey, if you got one unautographed, I'll send you something. So, but I'm gonna go with that Xbox Raw as my favorite. But George, how we don't get this anymore now that everything's digital, but you mentioned the Gears of War pre-order.
Yeah.
Like, how cool was waiting in line at like 11:30 at night for the game to come out? GameStop would open at 12.
See, I have a different experience because I worked at GameStop, so I was the guy that was working them. And sometimes they really suck. But for the most part, it was cool because...
Oh, my God.
Usually if you work there, you're also a fan of like gaming. You're not just there because it's a job. So like you like share in the hype. Yeah, it's awesome. I think I have my answer for the pre-order thing too.
Well, what is it?
I'm going 2K17 because it had the signed, I think it was Rob Schamberger they did like a Shinsuke card that was signed. And then they did it's like an 8-inch figure of Demon Finn Balor.
That's right. It was NXT edition,
the NXT edition, yeah.
Yeah. You also got a nice little Goldberg card.
Yeah, and then I think there's like the canvas cards and stuff in there.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm going
pretty
with
cool.
that one. 2K17.
Yeah, good stuff. Dakota Kellogg, message us on social media to claim your prize. But oh man, I'm having a rush of nostalgia right now, thinking back to these waiting outside GameStop, because the one I would go to was next to like a smoothie place, and they would stay open. Like,
oh wow!
They would stay open, and they would also put like, if it was Gears 2, they would put Gears 1 on their screens and like let people come in and play Gears 1 while they wait. It was
that's
cool.
Good business.
Yeah,
that's a good business practice. Like it's like a locals to local kind of thing. Where like we know that a local business, granted it's a massive franchise, but like it's still like a locally run business is helping out another locally run business. That's cool.
Yeah, and they would go down the line. I have a Gears of War poster. Like they would give you all this cool stuff. I have a little keychain that's an Xbox controller, but with like a Gears of War skin on it, but it's like 2 inches. I have it somewhere around here. I used to keep like work keys on it so I wouldn't lose them. But I miss stuff like that. We don't get that a lot with digital releases.
No,
I don't know.
That's like a lot has changed in the gaming world because of things like digital releases, and it's just if you were there and you experienced the hype of like a midnight release of like the new Halo or anything like that, like you get it. But it's like a lost art. But John, I do think it is time for us. I'll be honest with you, man. I don't think I'm getting off the lounge chair this week. I'm not ready to go onto the diving board.
I'll tiptoe in just to see Carmen Electra.
I'll dip a toe into the pool.
All right. Well, without further ado, up next is the deep dive of Celebrity Deathmatch.
Are you sick of drinking the same old boring coffee with the same old boring flavors? Well, Marks, it's time for you to check out Bones Coffee Company. Bones Coffee isn't just a drink that wakes you up in the morning. It's a full flavor experience. Small batch roasts that are made to order so that every order is guaranteed to be fresh. Unbelievable, all-natural flavors in every single bag. Some of our favorites are blueberry, paradise pie, and chocolate raspberry. But if you're not into the flavored coffees, they've got their single origin series featuring coffee beans from the greatest coffee growing regions in the world. Visit GameMarksPod.com/coffee to place your order and try the world's freshest small batch coffee. All right, John. Celebrity Deathmatch, released October 14th, 2003 for the PC, Xbox, and PlayStation 2, and October 21st of 2003 for the PlayStation 1. Developed by Big 8 Productions, published by Gotham Games. That's how they say it in the game when you first load it up. And Celebrity Deathmatch is exactly what you think it is. It is a video game based off the very popular television show at the time, Celebrity Deathmatch.
You were a Celebrity Deathmatch kid, right?
I did watch. I can't say that I watched it religiously. When we did Clash at the Feast, I know that you said that it was something that you were a massive fan of and you watched it religiously. If it was on, I caught it, but I'm trying to remember like what it did air after or before, like where was it on that like time slot?
I want to say it was Sundays, and it was around the same time, like either before or after Sunday Night Heat. For that brief moment, it was on MTV, which I watched it before that, but that kind of made me watch it more, I would say. Like I couldn't wait. Like Sunday morning, you'd be like, okay, I got Celebrity Deathmatch today. And it was just so cool. You just wanted it. But here's a story. So when I first discovered Celebrity Deathmatch was 4th grade. So this is relevant today because in our Patreon group, someone actually sent a re-release of a Hanson song by Bowling for Soup, and Hanson themselves re-put it out. I was a big Hanson kid. I take no shame in it. I have seen them in my adult stages of life, and they are full on like actual rock and roll musicians now. Like they are very talented, and I will appreciate Hanson till the cows come home. And
I will not argue with you on any part of that. I agree with everything that you just said.
They're more than just MMMBop, okay?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Now,
absolutely believe that.
I go into 4th grade class, and the girls in the corner are talking about how Hanson died. Now, I don't know what Celebrity Deathmatch is. I was in like a state of shock and sadness that entire day, thinking that Hanson died, and that some arena they were in, the big like jumbotron fell on top of them. And then I go home, like I ask my parents, like Hanson didn't die. Next day, like I start asking questions, and they're like, yeah, Celebrity Deathmatch, Marilyn Manson killed them. Like he took a chainsaw and knocked down the scoreboard, and Hanson's dead. Goodbye. Like the girls were sassy about it. They were like, yep, goodbye, bye Hanson, bye. And I was like, okay, now I know what this is. Okay, so then with that, I caught Celebrity Deathmatch finally, and I think it took me a couple years to actually watch that episode because it traumatized me.
All right. Well, now I know what we're doing as another piece of bonus content for the Patreon. You and I are doing a watch through of Celebrity Deathmatch.
I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to it. So.
Oh man, but so this game gets a lot of flack.
Does it now?
Okay. When I say, okay, let me start over. When we started this podcast, people said, "Oh, I can't wait for you to play this game. I can't wait for you to play that game." And like, in the middle of like a No Mercy or Here Comes the Pain, you would get like the little pepperings of like, "Oh, I wasn't expecting someone to say that. I wasn't expecting someone to say that." We've played now both of the games that we were not expecting people to be so hyped about. And those games were the Simpsons wrestling game, and now today we played Celebrity Deathmatch. So I rented this game from Blockbuster. I know that you said that you owned it.
Yep, owned it on Xbox.
I did not remember a single thing. Everything that I thought was a part of this game is not a part of this game, and I think I just took things from the TV show and was like, yeah, that happened in the game. I remembered nothing about this game at all.
No, I want to say I did rent it, or I saw someone play it and it looked cool, so I bought it. I also remember it not being like one of those full $50 Xbox games at the time. Like it might have been like 30 or 40 because they know when it comes out.
Yeah.
Like when the Walking Dead game came out by Activision, it was basically a copy and paste of Call of Duty Zombies. They were like, yeah, we know. It's only $25. It's one of those.
Don't be mad.
But
it's cheap.
I think the biggest thing here was, obviously you're getting really good celebrities. Like this is a pretty star-studded lineup. As a kid, did I think that? No. I kind of was just like, all right, I'll be Dennis Rodman. Is it funny? Yes, there's funny moments in it. But they actually loaded it. They probably lost money on this with the celebrity contracts they had to have.
I was going to say, I don't know if did the licenses from the show carry over to
I doubt it.
Because it's not like, I think with the exception of one character, everyone else is voiced by like a celebrity voice actor. It's not like, Dennis Rodman is not voicing himself in this game.
No.
Or in the TV show.
No, but as far as the game itself goes, it's very beat 'em up. There's no method to anything. Like if you look at a move list, it'll say grapple. There's no real grapple. Like you're sticking a dynamite up someone's butt or farting on their face. It's so Celebrity Deathmatch, but at the same time, it's so Simpsons, I guess. It's silly, It's goofy, it's raunchy.
It feels like, I can't quite put my finger on it. It almost feels like if you told someone, what do you think like a comedy wrestling match is? and they just took that idea and they're like, this is a game now. And this, if I think like of a joke wrestling match, this is the game that I make. Like, this is what they would make.
Yeah.
Or like,
you know what I have to point out? I thought it was cool that as the game progresses, you bleed more. And pieces like of your head go missing. That, in that sense, I think they added stuff to it. But what I don't get...
Which is funny because a lot of games now don't even do that.
Right. But what I don't get, this, Simpsons, a few of the older games, what is with the power-ups being thrown in the ring and like the little robots that come and attack your feet, or we saw a rooster jumping in your face. What is with all that?
Mr. T throws grenades.
Why do you need that? I get it.
That's the special attack, John.
But why do you need to walk over something and get a bazooka gun?
Or what was the one that I picked up? So like a tennis ball launcher or something?
Tennis ball launcher. It's cool. I get it. But to be able to do that at any point in the match is so dumb. Like, maybe
I agree.
Make that something that happens when you reach a certain point. Now, I also said last week, I remember these matches being very long. I think it was complete opposite. I think they're very quick because of you're taking out drumsticks or saw blades and just ripping your opponent up. We wanted a deathmatch game, guys? Here it is. Gakdog, well, they're coming for you.
How did your playthrough of the single player go? Did you, because I know that depending on who you were, so like obviously everyone has different movesets, but I found that certain movesets were really good and matches went really quick. And then I found that other characters that I played at, their movesets absolutely sucked. And it took forever to win a match just because they weren't attacking as quickly, or the moves didn't feel like they did as much damage, or like most of there's one person where like every move that they do is just like a taunt
or
and
backwards.
Just like stuns your opponent, or backwards.
So that's another thing that we mentioned in Simpsons Wrestling. There's no targeting in this game. You have to chase your opponent around the ring. You have to find them. You might be facing the completely opposite way. There's no run button. You're always running. So it's a little goofy. It's a little silly. It doesn't feel like a complete game to me. But with that said, the way to play this game, it's a beat 'em up. Pretty much your intention is to kill the other person. And when you fill up an MTV bar, it'll start flashing. That's when you press R2 and you launch your special, I don't even know what to call it, your special move.
It's a special attack. In some cases, we'll use Dennis Rodman as the running example since John already mentioned that he's in the game. So as Dennis Rodman, when you use your special, you strike several, you do your 5-second pose, and then basketballs rain from the sky like meteors.
But they don't even drain the other person's health. They were raining down on you, sure, but nothing was happening. I think you were just flinching, which allowed me to punch you. Whereas,
I think it was more like a slow, like a stun kind of effect than.
Whereas Justin Timberlake will dance next to you and force you to dance with him, and then just like super kick you, and your head goes flying.
Yeah, that was like a barbershop window kind of feeling.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. But the main objective of the game, like we said, is to kill, and you pretty much have a fatality. And once that meter is saying kill on the bottom, and you press circle or B if you're on Xbox, you launch your special kill move, which some of them are a little ridiculous. Like Dennis Rodman pulls your head off and he slam dunks it. Mr.
So
T.
that one I expected. That one feels like Celebrity Deathmatch. Like that's the kind of things that you would see. Other ones, not so much. We'll talk a little bit about those later, but there were some that happened that I was just like, this is in a video game that released and people bought and played, and I have a hard time wrapping my brain around that.
Yeah, and of course, once you taunt, your MTV bar fills up faster. But let's get into these game options here, because you do have somewhat of a story mode. It's called Episode, where you need to complete each episode and you'll unlock new arenas and characters. Then there's Deathmatch, which is your standard exhibition one-on-one, and then I didn't expect this. Create a celebrity. It is very bare bones. It's not much of much, but it is there. You can play as your created character.
Yeah, but listen, something cool about the episodes that I don't think that I guess I didn't expect it to, and I'm not really entirely sure if I want more games to do something like this, but when you pick the episodes, you have 3 matches to pick from, but you can pick who you play as. So there are 6 episodes in total, and for every episode that you complete, you unlock a special character. So episode 1 is called War of the Weirdos, and for completing that, you unlock Cousin Grimm. Episode 2 is called Tough Guy vs. Puff Pie, and for completing that, you unlock Frankenstein. Episode 3 is Size Does Matter, and the unlockable for that is Mummy, the Tomb Ring. Episode 4, Battle of the Witches, and that unlockable is the Graveyard Ring and Wolfman. Episode 5 is called Fright Night with the Freaks. You unlock the Alien and the Spaceship Ring, and episode 6 is called Clone Wars. And for completing that, you get Wizard Johnny Gomez and Gladiator Nick Diamond.
Now, these are cool and all. It's good that they have this feature, but there is by no means enough characters in the game to complete all of these and not get repetitive.
I agree with you, and we said the main thing that you touched on it before, the main thing that kind of wasn't a main selling point is that, like, I guess you really wouldn't know a lot of these people.
I think my main issue was, I get that they wanted to load the game with more characters, but it's so stupid to just play as the Mummy, Wolfman, and Frankenstein.
I was going to pick Cousin Grimm, and you yelled at me in Clash of the Feast. You're like, how are you not going to play as a celebrity? It's Celebrity Deathmatch. I was like, well, because Cousin, like, these characters were on the show.
Yeah, but it's not... I guess. I did play as Wizard Johnny a bunch in Gladiator Nick, I will say that. But they're at least characters on the show. I get what you mean.
But listen, there's a lot of things that we got to talk about in regards to this roster. I have one major point or glaring issue that you kind of already touched on, but let's go through this roster. I'll read through it this week, John. So your roster.
Hey, wait. But before we do that, let's hear a word from our sponsors.
All right, thank you. So your roster for Celebrity Deathmatch is as follows: Busta Rhymes, Carrot Top, Cousin Grimm, Shannon Doherty, Carmen Electra, Frankenstein's Monster, Gladiator Nick, Ron Jeremy, Tommy Lee, Marilyn Manson, Cindy Margolis, Miss Cleo, Mr. T, Mummy, Lance Bass, JC Chazez, Joey Fatone, Chris Kirkpatrick, Justin Timberlake, Dennis Rodman, Anna Nicole Smith, Jerry Springer, Wizard Johnny Gomez, Wolfman, and Zatar the Alien. Now, I forgot that when you pick NSYNC, you just pick what character you want to be.
Well, did you think you were just going to be all 5 members?
I thought maybe like each one of them maybe had like a smaller life bar and you just like knock them out and then like another one comes in and you knock that one out, another one comes back in. And like the last guy is Justin Timberlake and he's like, I'm the most powerful.
You think this game that we just played was going to put that in this game?
Or maybe like Frankenstein's Monster, but it's Frankenstein's Monster of NSYNC and it's just like, it's Lance Bass's leg. And
now let's also talk about other people in this game because Mills Lane is the referee. And Debbie Montanopoulos is the backstage correspondent / announcer. And I'm today years old when I found out that she's a real person.
I just Googled her because I didn't know who she was, but
I put in Celebrity Deathmatch Debbie, expecting to get a fictional character. And it turns out she's real. She's on The View and she's a talk show host. So today years old, had no idea.
Yeah, don't really know who that is.
However, also in the game.
Learn something new today.
Now, let's go to the art style here because it does resemble the show very much, but there are some flaws.
Wait a second. I got to cut you off here for a second because before we could talk about how the game looks, we got to talk about the first thing or one of the first things that pops up when you load up this game. there is a huge disclaimer. It's like what you would expect if you were watching like a WWE pay-per-view, and it's like, don't copy or illegally distribute this game. But this one says, the game you are about to play is a work of total fiction. Names, characters, places, and incidents are either products of their creators' imaginations or are used fictitiously. Any resemblance to actual events or locales is entirely coincidental. This game does not reflect the views or opinions of any actual person portrayed herein. ... Anyway, it's just polygons.
But George, this was before every single Celebrity Deathmatch episode, but it said, instead of just polygons, it said it's just clay.
Just clay. I was just going to say, I love the twist on that because, like you said, it kept it true. It made it feel like the game that you were playing was an actual episode of Celebrity Deathmatch.
But I think that's the main criticism of this game, because while it does look like polygons, the whole clay factor kind of goes out the window. So its biggest criticism was, sure, it looks like Celebrity Deathmatch, it looks like a video game, but you're losing the whole claymation part in the process.
And that's knowing that there's a game out there that's called Clay Fighter, and they look like clay, and that's out way before this game comes out.
Yeah, I'll give it to Johnny Gomez and Nick Diamond, though. They do look pretty spot on from their actual Celebrity Deathmatch appearances.
Yeah, they're absolutely spot on. It's the Celebrity Deathmatch counterpart is accurately portrayed here in the game. It looks exactly like that. Obviously, it's the same voice actors. There's something. I feel like there's an elephant in the room that we need to address, and I just don't know how to address it.
Just go for it.
This game, there is no way that this game flies in 2021.
Not a chance.
There's just no way. There's no way that this game gets released the way that it was already released publicly.
Half the roster's dead or canceled.
I mean holy crap. I mean, just playing as one character, every single thing is a dick joke. Every single thing. And I went into it. Literally. Everything is a fart joke, a sex joke, a
fat joke. They crush Anna Nicole Smith for her finisher. She puts you on like a pig roaster and roasts you and eats you. And
a boob joke. One of her moves is that she rips off her chest and their watermelons.
She also sits on your face and farts. Like, what is this game?
Like and you know that a game is pushing the envelope when Johnny Clash is like, this game is weird.
It's super weird. I've also mentioned this in many other games that have these weird arenas that aren't just wrestling rings that I hate, like Spaceship and lava and whatever. I hate that. I don't want it. I want to be in the regular arena. Maybe that's just the big wrestling fan in me, but I don't know how everyone else feels. I don't want anything to do with those other arenas.
I'm trying to think as we sit here and we reflect on our playthrough of this game and we're talking about everything about the game. There's one thought that just keeps going like on repeat in my head.
Was it the Carmen election?
Would you rather play this or would you rather play Simpsons?
I think I'd go with this.
I want to combine them. I want the engine of this game, but like the game, like the actual look of the Simpsons game, because like the Simpsons game looked like the Simpsons, but like this game, the controls are pretty good.
Can we just not play either?
All right, yeah.
All right, so let's talk about this for a second. This got a PlayStation 1 release. We're in the era where that was happening a little bit more, and this one had a little bit of a different style, a different look. You had a less amount of wrestlers on your roster, if I could say wrestlers, celebrities, I guess. And your matches are death by elimination, single elimination, one-on-one, team brutality. So you're not really getting that episode feature, and you're not getting the full kaboom here. Now, George, I'll say this. When I was younger and I made the switch from PS2 to PS1, I don't know if your parents did this, but my parents, if, say, Tony Hawk 3 was out, they would buy me the PS1 version because it was cheaper, not realizing that the PS2 version was so much better.
Oh, see, we had a rule. The rule was my parents would be like, okay, you want to have this new game, that's fine. We're going to rent it from Blockbuster for the max amount of time that they will let you rent it. And if you are still playing it, like whatever it is, you rented a game for Blockbuster, you got it for a week. So we're like, all right, we're going to rent it for a week. If by the end of that first week, if you're still like fiending to play that game, we'll think about getting it for you. But if you rent it from Blockbuster, you get it for 2 days, and then you're like, I'm going to play something else. Then you bought into a hype of a game. The game itself is not something that you enjoy. We're not going to get it for you.
All right, well, I'm talking like Christmas. I would put Tony...
Oh, no, they made me test run everything.
I would put like Tony Hawk 3 on my Christmas list, and I'd open it. It would be the PlayStation 1 version. I'd be like, damn it, because I'd get used to like the PS3 version. I'm sorry, PS2 at my friend's house, and then you'd go to this pixelated... It didn't load like the full screen. It would be black, and you walk into it. It was so bad. But eventually... I remember getting the Xbox, and that's when I was like, all right, I'm going to buy Tony Hawk 3. I'll trade in the PS1 version. So it's typical that Celebrity Deathmatch is going to be even less on the PS1 version. But let's get into this artwork here, because if you're going to sell Celebrity Deathmatch, here it is. Here's your core celebrities on the cover. Now,
looks like claymation.
It looks like Celebrity Deathmatch. You have Carmen Electra, Busta Rhymes, Jerry Springer, Carrot Top, Mr. T, Marilyn Manson, Dennis Rodman, Anna Nicole Smith, and Tommy Lee on the cover, looking like their Celebrity Deathmatch counterparts, but not necessarily their game counterparts. And the same's on the back with Busta Rhymes and Marilyn Manson as well. It just really pisses me off that Tommy Lee has a guitar in this game. He's a drummer.
I was going to say, that was like one of the first things that you pointed out, and I was like, how did I not even realize that that's what he's holding, like, or on the cover? I didn't even realize it.
Like, has he played guitar? Sure. He has a Schecter signature guitar, but this is not it. So, if someone wants to correct me on that,
what it says on the back. It says celebrities are put on this planet to entertain us with their blood. Wow. Based on the hit show, MTV Celebrity Deathmatch allows you to play and dismember over 15 showbiz's most beloved and hated personalities. It's time for the famous to stop being nice and start getting destroyed.
Oh boy. That's harsh.
That's well,
it's pretty brutal.
Okay then.
But then you go to the PS1 cover, and obviously it's square, so you're going to get different dimensions, and it has the ring in the background with Tommy Lee, Mr. T, Carmen Electra, Busta Rhymes, and Marilyn Manson. So it's also not made by Big Ape Productions.
So here's the thing that is confusing to me. This is not on both the game or the PS2 game and the PlayStation, the Celebrity Deathmatch logo. That's not the logo that I remember.
No, but the one you remember...
Is the logo for the game different than the logo for the show?
The one on the cover, yeah. It's a little bit different, but the one that you're used to, that you're talking about from the show, is in the game, featured everywhere. So
Yeah. That one's all over the place. That's why I was just like, wait a second.
Yeah, I guess they just wanted to give it a different feel for the video game.
All right. Just something that I noticed, and I was like, I wonder if maybe I was just like seeing things, and maybe it's been right the whole time, and I'm wrong. Maybe I'm out of touch, John.
Or maybe, did you know? Did you know Cindy Margolis is the only celebrity to never appear in the TV series, and Ron Jeremy was voiced by himself?
Did you know? In the PlayStation 1 version, only Busta Rhymes, Carmen Electra, Marilyn Manson, Miss Cleo, Mr. T, Tommy Lee, Wolfman, Zatar the Alien, and regular versions of Nick and Johnny are playable.
Did you know Celebrity Deathmatch starts on eBay around $12 used and goes up to $55 sealed? A graded PlayStation 1 version of the game is also on eBay for $400.
Who the hell is getting a sealed version of Celebrity Deathmatch and going, I gotta get this graded?
Yeah, and it was only an 8.5. But speaking of ratings, George, this was a tough game. You know, you saw some Anna Nicole boob.
We were both uncomfortable. This is a rare occurrence here on Game Mark's podcast.
All right, so why don't you sit back and let me take you through some ratings and reviews.
I appreciate that.
All right, this is interesting. We got 4 consoles here to work with. So Game Rankings gives the PC version a 27%, the PlayStation a 20, PS2 a 37, and Xbox a 36. Metacritic with a 30 out of 100 on PC, PS2 a 32, and Xbox a 36. OneUp.com gives the PS2 and Xbox an F. Game Informer with a 2.75 out of 10 for both PS2 and Xbox. Game Revolution gives PS2 and Xbox a D-. GameSpot with a 2.8 across the board. GameSpy with a 1 out of 5 stars. GameZone with a 4.5 out of 10 for the PC and a 5.5 for the PS2 and a 5.7 for the Xbox. IGN with a 5 out of 10 for the PC and Xbox and a 4 out of 10 for the PS2. OPM gives the PS version a 1 out of 5 and the PS2 version a 1.5 out of 5. OXM US gives Xbox a 3 out of 10, and PC Gamer gives the PC version a 17%. So, overall, what they're saying, still, again, Game Zone, too high. A 5.7? Come on. They're always way too high on these ratings. I don't know what's up with them, if they're trying to work with the companies to get the games higher. That's already been debunked that they don't get paid off, so I don't know what's up with them.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But not even mediocre ratings here. This is pretty bad. This is terrible.
I wonder if that's for the gameplay. So, like, the way that we pull up the reviews is just we grab the numbers. Now, I would be curious to know, is the negative reviews because of the content of the game or the game engine?
Well, if you go into each of these, you can go into like IGN, GameSpy, and find the article where these are reviewed, because most of their writers will review them, and some of those articles are very helpful when I write these notes. But they will tell you kind of the general consensus of why or what they give it. So it's kind of different for each. All right, but with that, George, these are the ratings from the professionals. But how about the most important rating of them all? Our ratings, because right now, you say it.
It's time to rate the game.
The game!
All right, George Feis, I'm going to go first. Celebrity Deathmatch. Will you play it forever? Woo! Or future endeavor?
You're fired!
He's closing his eyes.
I'm going to regret this. And I'm only going to regret this because it means I have to play this again. Celebrity Deathmatch. Future endeavor.
You're fired!
You scared me for a second. I thought you were going to play it forever.
Nope. Johnny Clash. I probably could have counted this one down. Johnny Clash, Celebrity Deathmatch. Are you going to play it forever or future endeavor?
Listen, I'm not going to lie. I actually debated this in my head just because I enjoyed it as a kid. I don't know. I don't remember, honestly, if I enjoyed it as a kid.
You played it as a kid, and that's where your memory stops.
I played it excessively. I guess just because it was the new game and I left it in my console and I would just pick it up and play it. Oh, man. But right now I'm future endeavoring it hardcore.
You're fired!
All right. Now, we need to talk about something very important. We need to talk about what happened last week in Clash at the Feast. So we're just going to hop right into it. John, it's time for our weekly tournament, Clash at the Feast.
Oh, you know,
all right,
I think. Hey, you know what?
YouTube.com.
I think I want to take us through this one this week.
Do you want to intro it too, or do you want me to intro it and then you can go
ahead.
on your...
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So, youtube.com/GameMarksPodcast for this week and every week's episode of Clash at the Feast. And without further ado, Johnny Clash, the floor is yours.
So last week we played Super Fire Pro Wrestling X. And let's set the stage here. Georgie sits down, he changes his shirt. He was wearing a muscle shirt. He took it off. He put on a new shirt because he was intimidating. Turned his hat backwards like Ash Ketchum. Cracked his knuckles. He's like, this is a Fire Pro game. I got this. Match number 1. He was Vader. I was Ken Shamrock. Vader tapped Ken Shamrock with match number 1. Match number 2. He picked the counterpart of Jushin Thunder Liger. Of course he did, because, just Jushin Thunder Liger is usually the top guy in any game. I picked the homicidal, the suicidal, the genocidal. I was watching a lot of ECW that day. I picked Sabu.
Tattoo.
Sorry, his real name is Tattoo. For your winner, with a clean sweep of Super Fire Pro Wrestling X. Johnny Clash, play my music.
Not everything's made to last. This is my life.
My loneliness is killing me.
I'm keeping all of that in. I wish you could see his face while he sings it. I finally won a game.
Oh man, I gotta tell you though, it was like bittersweet because it sucks to lose a week, but God, I'm so proud of how far that you have come in these Fire Pro games. Like, it's such a struggle because I'm like, son of a bitch, he beat me and I want to be mad. But also, I'm so proud that he actually has played enough Fire Pro games now that he can actually beat me.
Yeah.
Come a long way.
I've come a long way.
Very proud. It's been great to watch you on this journey of growth over the last year of you going from absolutely despising a game and anyone who liked it to now not only embracing it and liking it, but kicking my ass at it.
Well, that puts a score at 2-1 right now for the month of June. That's May and June combined. We have a total of 6. So watch this week's to see who takes it and where we stand, because it might be tied. George might have ran away with it. Who knows?
All right, John, are you ready to find out what we are going to be playing next week?
All right, George. I'm going to cut you off here. This is usually the part where...
You just did that twice.
This is usually the part where you tell us what game we're playing next week. We get all excited, or I get all sad, no, I'm going to lose. And no. We're not playing a game next week.
Is this the last episode?
No.
Are you quitting the podcast?
No,
have I finally
next week's might
pushed
be
you that far away?
Next week's might be the last if I don't hit the censor button.
Oh God.
I have something special planned for us next week. And it is... You know what? I don't think I'm going to tell anyone this week. I think we're just going to wait for that little notification to come up in your podcast app, and you're going to find out that way.
But how am I supposed to know what's going on?
You'll be there. You'll be there, George. Come on.
This is usually the part where I also tell you what we're playing because you usually don't know until I tell you. But now, is this what you feel like every week?
This is exactly what I feel like with a little self-doubt.
Dude, this sucks. No, I'm not doing this to you anymore. I got to know. You got to tell me off pod.
I'll tell you. You'll be there. Don't worry.
Okay. I hope so. All right. Is that it? Are we finally done with whatever this amalgamation of a horrible game is?
Throw it in the trash. Let's go.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's going to do it for us this week on the Game Marks Podcast. Please check out all of our merchandise at GameMarksPod.com/shop and join us on Patreon. Patreon.com/GameMarksPod. It is the best way besides listening to support the podcast, and be sure to follow us on all forms of social media at GameMarksPod. Leave us a review and a rating on Apple Podcasts, and hey, we may even be putting together some giveaways for some 5-star reviews that may be coming in. So make sure to get that review in now, and make sure to subscribe wherever great podcasts can be found. Thank you very much for hanging out with us this week. Brett, I want to say thank you for making us play a great game, but always supporting and making sure that we are putting out some very interesting content, and this week was no exception. John, do that thing.
Game over. Marks.
Game Marks Podcast, put them on the radar. Playing rare games, Sega Saturn, no Game Shark. Johnny and George work hard and they play hard. Future endeavor games and put them in the graveyard. From the deep dive to the clash at the feast. How can I get more? That's question of the week. Follow on Twitch, there's nothing that they won't play. Game Marks Podcast every single Monday.
Hi everyone, this is David C. Anderson, the commissioner of the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast, and I'm inviting you to check out my brand new podcast, Chat 'em Up. Each week I bring an infotaining look at all of the recent happenings, along with stories, conversations with guests, and more. The podcast can be found on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, or wherever fine podcasts are found. New episodes of Chat 'em Up drop every Monday. Make sure you're following the podcast across social media on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Chat 'em Up Podcast. I'll chat with you soon.